But in terms of the week that Ryan Mason has had, on Tuesday, appointed interim boss of Tottenham, promoted from his role as a youth development coach, it has been a whirlwind, finishing off in a cup final at Wembley.
You can't imagine the week he's had. Stress levels must have been through the roof. You know, he gets the call to say he's taking the team. You think, how long is that going to be? The beat Southampton, so he starts fantastic. Youngest ever manager or coach to win a Premier League game, take charge of a Premier League game. And then on the Sunday, he's got a final here against Pep, one of the best managers ever. You're testing yourself 2 games in. He's had a hard week. He's had a lot to deal with, take a lot in at that age. He knows a lot of these players, and he'll be disappointed because you look today, Man City were far superior. It was the right score. Man City deserved to win, but you just think, could they have given a little bit more for him? No, they left everything out there. They just weren't good enough. Simple as that.
It would have been a fairy tale, Jamie, but how do we now reflect on the decision to fire Jose Mourinho?
The timing, I think, we all found was incredible. But it doesn't surprise me with the club. It's happened before. I think you were there when Martin Jol was sacked. So they have made some decisions where they do sack managers and they hire and fire very quickly. But what they've got to do now, they've almost got to forget that and make sure they get the next one right in charge, because there's a lot of pressure now on the board to get it right, because they've made decisions that hasn't worked out with Jose Mourinho. They brought in a manager that sort of went away from the Spurs way of playing in terms of the style, and the Spurs fans didn't like it. Now the next manager coming in has got to be the right one. They've got to get this one right, because otherwise the pressure will really grow. And you look at the odds there of the people that are coming. Sorry, that will not excite the Spurs fans one bit. Not one bit.
Who would you have from that, Jamie?
Well, if you look at Nagelsmann, I think with Hansi Flick's just going to take the Bayern Munich manager's now going to take the Germany job, it looks like. So you'd imagine Nagelsmann will go and take the job there at Bayern Munich. Santo, does that excite me? Not sure. Scott Parker looks like he might be going down with Fulham. So, but he's got history, worked at Tottenham for a while, and he's played good football. Daniel Levy might like someone that. Ryan Mason at 10-1. You're not backing him. Graham Potter, Rafa, no. Brendan Rodgers is a manager that Daniel Levy tried to get Brendan Rodgers a few years back. But would you leave Leicester right now, where you've really established something? It's a really big club, but so is Tottenham. But I don't know whether that would be something that would interest Brendan.
Michael?
I'd like to see Scott Parker. Ryan Mason then 4 or 5 years behind Man City. I think they're quite a few years behind Man City, actually. But if you look at Scott Parker, have a project. They did it with Mauricio Pochettino when he went in. You see the young generation. He cleaned a lot of people out, started from fresh, and he built on that. And I think Scott Parker, for me...
And you worked with Scott as well, didn't you?
I worked with Scott. Yeah. He started there. He started his coaching at the club. He knows the football club. Great guy. And when I see him get promotion at Fulham last year, he's struggling this year. I know that's what you're going to say, Mike.
No, I'm not going to say struggling. I think it just depends on if they keep Harry Kane or not, because that's going to alter who wants to take the Spurs job, if we're being realistic. I mean, if you sell your best striker, which probably might happen now, then that's going to dictate who the manager is going to be.
Well, that's going to be the big question in the summer, isn't it? How is he going to stay? Now we were holding on to this. Can we win a cup? That cup's gone now. Top 4 looks like it's going to be a big struggle. So now it's going to come to the summer. Can they keep a hold of Harry Kane? He is everything for that football club, and you lose him, it's a major ask. And you say about a manager coming in, going to say, what funds are we going to get? How are we going to be able to improve this squad to put us in touching distance to the so-called top 4 now that they're chasing?
I think even Spurs fans will look at it and go, no one would begrudge him leaving. You know, that we'll say if you finish in the top 4, looks like that's not going to happen. If you win a cup, maybe we can keep Harry Kane. But right now, the way it is, with a disarray of not even having a manager at the club, unless Harry knows and they've got their next manager in place, which I just don't believe would happen, unless it is someone of the, you know, like Nagelsmann. But I don't know. I really don't know. Right now, these are such big decisions and important decisions, perhaps as big as Daniel Levy's had since he's been at the club, to get this right next time. Because this is too big a club to have this situation where you're getting managers in and out too quickly. They've got to make sure they keep their best players, as Michael rightly says, because if they don't, it'll be a difficult time once the crowd get back in. Because when they get back to that stadium, the Spurs fans are going to want to see their best players. They're not going to see Harry Kane not there anymore.
Michael, what sort of a state would that leave Spurs in if they lost Harry Kane?
Yeah, you always look at rebuilding, but if you lose your talisman, it'll be a massive impact. If you look at anyone who's tried to come in and sort of be second choice to Harry Kane, it's not worked out. Vinicius, although he scores goals in at the right moments, he's not getting the right goals. You had Soldado as well, who came in, didn't really, pull up trees. So it's a difficult position. I think that Spurs is priority now. And I know it sounds simple saying that, but I think get him nailed down and then worry about the manager afterwards.
We talk about the fact that any manager coming in will want to have a team that he can coach, and Harry Kane very, very important in that. But it flips over, doesn't it? And Harry Kane will obviously want to know who's going to be managing him next season as to whether or not he stays.
Yeah, I mean, look, when Mauricio Pochettino came in, I said he give Harry the main opportunity. Tim had broke him on the scene, and your dad gave him the opportunity. But then Mauricio Pochettino made him the main man. He was going to score goals, and he's done it since. And whoever comes in has got to be.
You got rid of him.
Yeah,
you went to a Champions League final, and you got rid of him. I'm flabbergasted.
I was surprised, Micah, at the time. I was thinking, right, they had a dip. They'd beaten the Champions League final, then they had a dip. And you think, Jose's going to come in. I always said, I thought he would win a trophy. I just thought that Jose, he just has something. And when he got to a final, and you think, is it going to be Europa League? Zagreb, it was a disaster.
Some fans were saying, when they got to he's took us as far as we can go. And then you've ended up with Jose and sacked him after how long? And now you're back to square one, where you had one of the best managers in the world, and they let him go.
That's why you've got to be careful what you wish for. We had an unbelievable manager in Mauricio Pochettino. I just thought, could a little bit more backing. All right, he was having a bad time at that period, but then you've got to go again. And you look at Pep early on in the season, was it 8 games in? We're sat with you, Micah, at Manchester when Leicester beat them, and you're thinking, wow, this Man City team looks, but they're stuck with him, and then they go on to be unbelievable. So managers go through a period, and I just think you have to stick with him and have a project, and that's why I believe Scott Parker is the man to go in, clear everything out, start fresh, and have a project and really back him.
Michael, do you feel like in terms of timing, do you feel like Jose Mourinho had enough time at Spurs and this was the right time to let go of him?
I was surprised, I'll be honest. Week building up to the Carabao Cup final, you sack him, I was probably as surprised as everyone. But in recent weeks' performance, you always expect to see Spurs attacking, and we're very defensive. And I go back to when they beat Arsenal 2-0 at home, and I thought, wow, this is... And then they beat Manchester United, they beat City, and then all of a sudden they lose to Leicester, Liverpool, and then it was downhill from there. It just seemed to be a turning point that was it, and then negativity came, defensive. There was just a team then that were where I believe they were going. So it wasn't a surprise.
What price is Jose on that list?